So right now you might be wondering, why am I talking about Fall Guys if my channel is about retro video games? Well, as always, I'm going to be tying things back to retro video games, and plus, if there was ever a modern game that had some sensibilities that retro gamers could appreciate, Fall Guys is that game. Now, of course, there are some more modern games that are clearly catered towards retro gamers. Stuff like Shovel Knight, Sonic Mania, but those are specifically targeting the retro demographic. What's different about Fall Guys is that it's targeting everybody. In fact, some people are predicting it to be as successful as Fortnite. Now, maybe you like something like Fortnite, but a lot of people are sick of its popularity, and more than that, people are sick of, first-person shooters and third-person shooters being such a dominant popular genre. And here's the thing about Fall Guys, in a lot of ways it's essentially a platformer, and what could be a more retro gaming genre than a platformer? So what is Fall Guys if you don't already know? Well, it's this game where you start off as 60 of these Fall Guys, and what Fall Guys are essentially these cute little chubby bean-shaped guys. And you can dress them up all these different ways. In fact, a lot of sponsors have already gotten on board with this because they see it as a huge marketing potential. I'm telling you, this game could be the next big thing. Maybe it'll fall flat on its face, you never know, but it has all the makings of the next big thing. So each game starts out with 60 of these different Fall Guys, and it's 60 different people all online playing. And basically you make your way through stages, and every round people get eliminated. And so eventually you go from 60 all the way down to 1. The game's very colorful, it has a fun aesthetic, it almost looks like you're going through like a Chuck E. Cheese type of play place sort of thing. That mixed with like one of those TV shows Wipeout where people are falling off of obstacles into water or whatever, except in this it's usually slime or just into the sky. Now for us retro gamers, here's the beauty of the game. Remember how I said it's essentially a platformer? Well, the skills you've developed like running, jumping, timing your running and jumping around different obstacles and all that kind of stuff, that is all going to come in handy big time in this game because it's incredibly useful and you're going to need those skills to get through. Let me tell you, I'm like pretty good at retro games. I wouldn't say I'm a master or anything like that, but I tell you, I was whooping some ass in this game. I would be the first person to reach it to the end sometimes. And for some of these obstacles, it's like, so you say you start with 60, in the first round, the first 42 people get to go through. So you just have to be one of the first 42 people to get there. And I'd be the very first one there at the end. And I'm telling you, this game has those retro sensibilities because even though it's marketed as a mass market type of game for everybody, it has that simple, easy pick up to play style where it's easy to understand, easy to play. All you can do is run, jump, dive, and grab. That's it. So anybody can play it. And I think that's part of why it's going to be so popular because you're going to have adults playing it. You're going to have kids playing it. I know a lot of you out there have kids. This is a perfect game where you can just play this game with your kid and laugh your ass off while doing it. Because the thing is, even when you die, it can be hilarious because your cute, chubby little bean guy can just get knocked like way across the screen and then fall to your death. I'm telling you, it's impossible to not laugh while playing this game. This really is the type of game that comes along and makes me think, yes, thank you, this is what video games should be doing. In a video game, you can literally do anything at this point with the technology we have. Let players do fun stuff. It's simple, it's fun, and it's creative. I've always felt that video games just focus too much on this hyper-realistic, take-me-seriously type of games. And sure, those games have their place, but we need more stuff like Fall Guys. Now, despite Fall Guys being a more goofy, comical type of game, I think that ironically it could end up to video games being taken more seriously. Because here's the thing, there's still a large chunk of people out there who look at video games and just write them off as something for angsty teenagers. And they would look at, and yeah, I know, who cares what they think, but they could look at a game like Fall Guys and be like, hey, that's some good, wholesome fun. And it could potentially really expand who's looking at video games and respecting them and wanting to play them, which is always a good thing. Like that one friend you used to have who used to play video games, but now he doesn't because he thinks because he's an adult he can't play video games anymore. I hate those kind of people. But anyways, I could see somebody like that getting converted by this game. Nah, I shouldn't say I hate those kind of people, but I do hate that kind of mindset. Now, the reason why I bring up Fall Guys on my channel about retro video games is because I think it will stand to benefit retro video games if a game like Fall Guys ends up being super popular. The gaming philosophy that video games should be easy to pick up and play but difficult to master is exactly what Fall Guys is all about and exactly what retro video games are all about. That's one of the foundations of how arcade games were created, and that influence really, it can be seen throughout all of retro video games. The popularity of retro video games has really exploded over the past handful of years, and I really think that something like Fall Guys is kind of a sign of things coming full circle, where the philosophy of how games should be made is just changing, and that ability to just pick up a game and have fun playing it is becoming really important, and more importantly, really respected. So yeah, I think Fall Guys is a game worth playing, even for retro gamers who maybe don't necessarily like very many modern games, if any at all. And for this video's question, I'd like to ask all of you, do you play modern video games, or do you just play retro video games? And if you do play modern games, how many of them do you play in comparison to the retro games? And of course, are you interested at all in playing Fall Guys? Maybe you already are? Or perhaps did my video pique your interest even just a little bit? I'd be really curious to know. So be sure to leave those comments down below, and I will see ya in the next video.
He's the retro bird, yeah, and he's talking about video